Hey, good morning, everyone. Once again, thank you for joining the session. I think we have a good amount of participants who have already joined.
Good morning, Nisha.
So before we begin the today's session, do we have any questions from the previous class?
I don't have.
Okay. How about other friends? Okay. No worries. So please do practice all the exercises. It's important because in one go, it's very difficult to grasp everything because a lot of concepts are there, a lot of things that has to be remembered. So try to practice it as many times as possible so that you get a good idea, fair knowledge on what are the steps that we need to follow and what are the sequence of steps that you need to take it up. Okay. So today I'll be talking on Azure monitoring service. And first I'll start with Azure monitoring and then we will continue from there. 1 second. You can hear me, right? You guys can hear me,
Yes,
right?
you're audible.
Yes,
Yes,
Nishan,
sir.
we
Yes,
can hear
yes.
you.
Yes,
Okay.
Nishan.
Because I see my connection is dropping. I don't know. I feel I'm dropped. It's like 1 second. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Nishan,
Yeah.
we can see you.
Okay. So first, what we will do, let's talk about what is an Azure monitoring service. Typically, an Azure monitoring service has the following components. It's very similar to your regular monitoring, but it is typical. The product is maintained by Azure because it's an Azure cloud. Any product, any service in Azure, almost all of them can be monitored to one or other level. If it is a VM, you can monitor your VM and application. If it is a firewall, you can monitor your firewall. If it is a load balancer, you can monitor your load balancer. If it is a DDoS protection system, you can monitor your DDoS alerts. Pretty much everything can be monitored. CPU usage to RAM usage, then disk usage, number of requests that are coming, number of requests that are going, but not uh, not like not like everything in one console. There are a couple of consoles that we need to look at. Each console has a different uh, what do you call different implementation. Anyway, I'm going to come up with that. The benefit here is you can think that this is a little lesser version, like 10 years before what we used to have, no, the regular monitoring systems. You can think like that. It's a regular monitoring system. But there is an advanced version called as Security Center. Now it is renamed as Microsoft Defender for Cloud. Security Center was the old name. Microsoft Defender for the cloud was a different name. That is mainly from a security point of view. Typically, most people use Azure monitoring for a normal health checkup point of view. So you know the difference between NOC and SOC, right? Network Operation Center and Security Operation Center.
Yes, Nishan.
Yeah, typically SOC people, what they do security monitoring, but NOC people will do the health monitoring, application performance, that kind of activities. Correct?
Basically, availability of an resource.
Yeah, availability of the resource. Here, security of the resource. Correct? So yes, so Azure monitoring is similar to that. It typically monitors the availability side of it. Because availability is mostly taken care, like 99.99% availability will get 99% availability you get. People don't prefer to do for that reason, because okay, system is down, you need to get an alert. That may not be the exciting reason for us in cloud, because it's already taken care. Most of our services that we build on cloud will always be high available state. We architect it in that way. But anyway, it's good to understand how Azure monitoring works. It can do application operating system monitoring, Azure resource monitoring, subscription monitoring, Azure tenant monitoring. And if you want, you can build custom resources, custom sources. And if you have AWS and Azure, Google Cloud, three cloud providers can be integrated into one Azure Defender, so that you can monitor the security aspects of it. As of now, Azure Monitor is not designed, or it is not yet matured to configure AWS Cloud and Google Cloud, but there is a Azure Defender which is actually ready. So anyway, I'm going to show you that screen. So it has metrics, pre-calculated metrics and predefined log services. So we will go ahead and use a simple lab for this and then build on top of it. So what we will do, we will go ahead and create a deployment using, and that deployment will be an Azure virtual machine. So we will first deploy a virtual machine. Now, whenever you go ahead and create monitoring solution, what is typically done? You will go ahead and create a monitoring engine, and then you will install an agent. You will install an agent on VM, and that VM will send all the alerts to the monitoring engine, correct? Here, rather than calling it as a monitoring engine, we call it as a log analytics workspace. We call it as log analytics workspace. And then we will enable the extension. We will enable the extension in Azure Virtual Machine. The moment you enable the extension in Virtual Machine, all the events will be collected and sent to the log workspace repository, log analytics workspace. And once it starts collecting the data, you can go ahead and look at the virtual machines and look at the performance and then query and collect the data. Now, first half, you will never see any data because you will not do much operations. Immediately, you will not see much of the data. You need to give an hour of time. That is the reason I'm starting this lab a little initially so that you can go ahead and, you will have enough time by end of the day to see some logs. Because we have to perform certain operations also, right? For that reason. So the simple lab architecture is going to look like this. So we are going to create a resource group. In that resource group, there will be a VNet. In that VNet, there will be a subnet. In that subnet, you will be having a VM. And then we will create a log analytics workspace and integrate log analytics workspace with the VM. And then we will tell next time when a VM is created, we can automatically connect it either manually or we can automate the process of connecting it back to the log analytics workspace. OK, shall we start it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and spin up our
Nishant,
machine.
would you be able to share that Azure link?
Yes.
Sure.
No worries. It's in the chat box.
Thanks.
So again, as I always do it in East US region, you already know, right? In which region you are supposed to work from the last class. So try to choose in that specific region. OK, I'm trying to choose it in East US region. But feel free
for
to.
some of us, it is not working.
Correct.
So
That's OK. But you know what region it works for you, right? South India works for you most of the time.
yeah, South India or Central India.
Yeah, just choose that accordingly. No worries.
Yeah.
So some of the operations we will use command line, some of the operations we will use GUI. So let's bring up our PowerShell. So ensure that, after this lab, maybe at the end of the day, delete everything and disable everything, because today whatever we are dealing now is a cost intensive. Like previous ones, if you forget to do implementation, what we have done is there is a automatic disable. That means after 2 hours, the system will go down. But today's lab is not like that. If you forget to disable, it will continuously charge. Because Azure monitoring service, Azure Defender for cloud, not all options are free. We are going to try, and Sentinel that I'm going to show you because most of you are interested. Sentinel is also not free of charge. Only first 30 days it's free. After that it will charge the credit card. Most of you in your accounts, it's Azure for students. You should not have any problem. First of all, activation is also a little difficult for student accounts. But anyway, on my account, I'll go ahead and show you. That should not be a problem. We will, as you start, you will get to know. Don't worry about that. First, let's go ahead and deploy a simple virtual machine. So for us to deploy a virtual machine, we need to create a resource group. Let's go ahead and create a resource group. So if you go to RG, so you have a simple resource group which is created. Not yet. It's not showing here, but it could have come up. So we have created a simple resource group. In this resource group, okay, we will go ahead and create a VM. But before you deploy a VM, okay, check the Azure Shell version. Check the Azure CLI version. So how do you check an Azure CLI version? Any quick idea, guess? What would be the typical command?
Just version.
Hyphen version.
Yes, is a dash dash version. Currently, if you look at now, you need to remember a few things. From the time we spoke last time till today, there are some changes that happened. There is a new version of PowerShell released. OK, so we are going to run a couple of commands that will upgrade our PowerShell. Currently, our PowerShell is not up to the mark. It should be around 4 version. It's currently using the older version. I'll also show you how to upgrade it to a current version so that you can spin up uh, the things. We are installing the AZ compute module. This will upgrade the uh, Azure CLI commands. You can spawn a new shell. You have spawned a new shell. Okay. And then I'll just load the module. Is it compute module? Yeah, 4.23.0. That is the version that we need. OK, we can go ahead and create a simple virtual machine. So it's asking username, local admin. OK, it's going to create a simple VM. The supplied password is not up to the mark. So along satisfy at least 3 of the password complexity requirements. OK, we'll go ahead and create. Let me go back and check whether any VM got created, not created. No. Cancelled. OK, good. You can reuse the passwords that you have created. You remember the password that we have created, no, previously P, A, $, like that. You can also use it. So it's trying to create a Azure VM. So in 3 ways you have learned, right, how to create a VM. One is via GUI, you learned how to create a VM, correct? The other one is using a ARM template. Now the one which you are learning is a command. So you can interact with AWS in 4 ways. Clear, guys? In 4 ways you can interact and create resources. One is via GUI. Second one is via our ARM templates automation. Third way is running a command. Fourth way is running a API using post method. Sorry, running a API using any of the post tools like Postman or curl or duplicate. Okay, now the VM is created. You'll see my VM is created. So let me just get the VM details. So now the VM is created, standard D2 VS3. Okay, good. Now what we need to do, we need to create a log analytics workspace. Search for log analytics workspace. Okay, you can go ahead and create a sorry, new workspace. Workspace creation will take time. Just create a simple resource group. First, in that resource group, you can create one log analytics workspace. Ensure that you are choosing the right subscription. And then just give a name, for example. Giving Reva log analytics workspace. And my infrastructure is sitting in East US region. And I want to set this also in East US region. So it's trying to create one log analytics workspace. So much time. Did you see the pricing tier? Pay as you go per GB 2018. Are you guys observing? It's a pricing tier. Typically, any monitoring solution, almost all the time they are charged. You will be charged for it. So in case whenever you want to do it on your personal account, just ensure that you're cautious about choosing the right subscriptions. Anyway, it's getting deployed. Let's wait for it to deploy. Okay, meanwhile, I have already deployed yesterday one just to keep some handy. I'll show you. Go to log analytics workspaces. I just created one yesterday. Log analytics workspace. Because it's a time taking process. So meanwhile, I thought I'll explain. So if you see, this is a log analytics workspace. Anyway, the other log analytics also could have been created. Yeah, see Reva log analytics workspace. Let's go there. So yes, this is where we can manage. Now we need to start monitoring our machine, right? Okay, if you look at a couple of options. If you see general category, this is where most of our work will be. Workspace summary. So as of now, there is no summary. If I go here to my existing workspace summary. If you see, it's actually telling last 24 hours. We did not do last 24 hours much of the activity. Maybe I'll see last 4 hours. No activity because it's not showing anything. So before that, what we need to do is we need to first connect a data source. Whenever we want to start with log analytics, we need to first connect a data source. Now, in our case, who is the data source? Who is going to be our data source? The Azure virtual machine. So you can go to virtual machine section. And do you see your virtual machine? Do you see the virtual machine? Select the virtual machine and click on connect. The moment you say connect, this virtual machine will start reporting to log analytics workspace, this log analytic workspace. So for each business unit, you can create a different log analytics workspace and perform the log analysis over there. And then give access. OK, Nishant should only have access to this log analytics workspace and all, using the role-based access control, so that only few operations can be possible. Clear? This connecting typically takes from for a couple of people, it may happen in 2 minutes. For some people, it may take 15 minutes. I don't know why that sometimes it takes, but yes. Is it clear? OK, now what you can do is you can also complete in this, because it's a time taking process. I'll ask you to complete task number 1, task number 2, and task number 3, please. In Azure monitoring section, please complete task 1, task 2, and task 3. I'm sorry. While you do this, I'll just.
Nishant, one question is like, last class, whatever resources which we created, should we just clean it up?
Sorry. Is it clear? Please do the task 1, task 2, and task 3.
Yeah. Nishant, one question is like, we had created resources in the last class, so we'll delete all the resources.
Ideally, you are supposed to delete it because it will be charged.
Yeah. Hopefully you have enough money left.
I think it should be there.
It should be there.
That $100 is good enough for you to start. Maybe you also check once whether money is left or not. You know how to check the balance, right?
Nishant, could you show?
Yeah, I'll show you. 1 second. I'm sharing a link in the chat box. Open that link, please. Yeah. There you see on my screen. Yeah. So I did not use anything. That's what it says.
Very conservative.
Not conservative. I'm loading that wallet every week.
Oh. You can do that?
I can do that.
Oh.
Because mine is a sponsored account, so it will automatically load.
We saw your password while you were entering.
Which password? System password, huh?
The Azure when you got in. So I think we can do it as well.
No way. You could have not sound. Because I have activated Azure before I log in. Before you log in only I have activated.
Yeah.
So Nishant, we have around $53 left.
Good enough.
Sorry, it's good enough, is it?
Yeah, good enough, good enough.
Yeah.
Just delete the resources from the previous so that you don't spend unnecessarily, no? See, if you are spending something for daily usage, no, it makes sense, no?
So just a quick question here, so what how will the exam pattern be? What can we expect? Say if we run out of whatever subscription fees we have right now in our account.
Maximum until and unless if you don't delete the resources and keep it for 1 month, you will exhaust. But in all the cases, in my previous classes also I've seen none of them were able to like say that my credits completed.
Okay.
Within the credits only maximum was done. In any worst case, if that is happens, don't worry, we will take care. We will give you more credits. In any worst case, but try to see if you can save that. The thing is, if you have to get more credits, there is a lot of process. Like we need to deactivate the account, activate the account, because only once you can activate student account. And then once you get the credit, then you have to delete that subscription, reactivate the subscription. A couple of things are there. You get it done. But can you all check how much balance you have? You should have more than $50. If you have more than $50, that's good enough. So that is the reason, right? You remember after in every session, what I made something called as cleanup. So if you have not deleted any resource from the previous, that means you never read this cleanup resources in the documentation. See, cleanup resources. Clean up the resources. Clean up the resources. I hope you understood, right? Why I made that very specific, that clean up the resources is mandatory. That's a habit that you need to actually bring. I'll tell you today in there were days on my AWS account. Every month I used to pay 4,500 rupees on an average. I don't even know where I activated it. Somewhere I have activated, somewhere I could have enabled a log, somewhere I could have done it. I forget because I will be in different classes. So maybe a student could have asked a demonstration, maybe I could have tested something and then I forget and I pay money. I know one of my friend, he paid $10,000 on his company's account. It was his mistake. He spawned just instances like that. He was practicing Terraform. He was practicing Terraform. You know what Terraform will do? For example, every time you run Terraform command, it will spin a new instance because he's practicing that only on how to spin a new instance using Terraform. By mistake, he put firewall, he put a load balancer. It spawned up and he forgot to destroy them. Big bill came. Why that? We had a previous class in Reva. One of the participants were given, like we used to give full access to the participant before in the initial batches, very initial batches. What happened is students started spinning up instances without telling us. And later we realized that we faced around 85,000 bill for 2 weeks. We got in Reva University itself. I only handled that bill. Handle means talking to AWS and see what can be done, how to handle it and all. We faced. And this is a very common situation. Huh? Not only you, this is a very common situation across the world. Many people tend to ignore it, but that ignorance will cause a lot of problems in the real world. So please, whether you will do everything with seriousness or not, that's a next thing. Cleaning up should be done diligently. You should not forget cleaning up the resources. Very important.
Nishant, quick doubt.
Sure.
While I was checking my what is it, PowerShell, this one it says 4.25. So the bug is only for 2.4 or even for 4.25 too?
Typically upgrade it. No, why you are worried about that? The thing is, we don't want to take any. We don't want to take any downtime as of now. We want to continue the lab.
Okay. So I can just downgrade it to 4.23, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is the current version? 4.24.
2.5. Sorry,
Okay, fine.
4.2.25. So should
Yeah.
I continue or shall I degrade it further?
Degrade it. Degrade it.
Okay, thank you.
Nishant, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
In task 1, step number 6,
Okay.
while creating the user local admin,
Hmm.
uh, password it is asking like what I've used in exercise 1 and 2.
That's just like PWD like that. You have used many passwords, no? PASSWD like that. See this one. Same password.
Like I
It's not
don't.
mandatory. See, it's not mandatory to use the same password, but this is like rather than choosing your own password, which you will forget, you can use this password.
Yes. Okay, thanks, Nishant.
No worries.
Nishan. Hello.
Sorry, I can hear you.
Yeah. One sec. Let me share my screen. I guess
Sure.
I'm getting an error message. It's due to the location. I just wanted to confirm once with you. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Ah. So this
The
have.
size of the VM is not correct. Okay. In your previous labs, which region did you do?
I guess I don't remember.
Okay, you did not. Okay, Central India you have done. No, you see. Oh,
Yeah.
you have not deleted servers from lab 8, 7. You don't. You did not clean up the resources, huh?
No, no, no.
Oh, yeah. Clean it, man. Lab 1 itself is there. See.
Yeah.
Please clean up the resources, huh? Otherwise you will be running short of credits.
Sure, sure. I'll do that. So
Okay.
I need to select
I
Central.
think Central India, right? So now you have to modify the commands according to Central India region.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But
Sharanya
first
sir.
clear the.
I'll do that now.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Subramanian. Sorry, Sharanya, you are telling something.
Yes, sir. Let me share my screen. I did
Uh,
modify the command, replaced East US with Central India.
mhm.
And are you able to see my screen?
Yeah. First thing we need to see. First, did you create the resource group in Central India?
Yes.
Okay, good. And then what is it telling? Validation failed. Go to the basics. Yeah, scroll down. It is asking for a name, dear. Just give a name.
Review and create, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
No worries.
Sir, sir, till task 3 we have to do, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I hope everyone have completed.
Yes, Nishan, done.
I'm doing task to Nishan. Just give me a
Okay,
couple of
okay.
seconds.
Sure, sure.
Nishan, I have a question here. Nisha?
Yeah, Devinder.
The question is like we practiced this in when we were doing Linux, that when we were connecting this log monitoring between the server and the workstation, the client, and therein we first thing did the setting at the both the ends, at the client end and at the server end, and then also there are settings around the format of the logs.
Correct.
So are we going to do these things, or these are automatically being taken care in cloud?
No, we are going to do that. We are going to do that.
Right. Okay.
The next task is 4 and 5. No, that's where the customizations are. Now
Oh,
you have
okay.
enabled the integration. Now we need to collect specific logs. No, you don't want to collect everything. So
Right,
that
right.
I'll show you what you want to collect right now. We are going to discuss that.
Fair, fair. Sorry, I didn't look at
No
the.
worries. No worries. Fine. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Thank you.
Guys, just let me know once you're done.
Completed till task 3, Nishant.
Okay, good.
Nishant, I need some help on task 3.
Sure, absolutely.
I'll share my
You want to
screen.
share the screen? Yeah.
I'll do that. So here we are on the log analytics blade.
Correct.
And one moment, let me just quickly bring up the screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Go to the log analytics workspace. You are in the resource group, not in the log analytics workspace. First one icon.
Yeah.
In that only first icon, correct. Yeah, click on that. Go to the virtual machines. Click on that VM. Click on connect button. Yeah, let's wait for it to connect. So how much time it took, guys, for it to connect? 5 minutes, 1 minute?
You can give me 5 minutes.
Sure. Okay. Meanwhile, other participants who have already completed, why don't you read task number 4 and 5? Keep it ready. Like read it and keep it in your brain ready. The moment I show you, you can implement it. Ideally, you can also go ahead and implement it on your own. If you are comfortable implementing on your own, feel free. If not, anyway, I'm going to show you and I'm going to give you time so that I'll explain it. You can continue.
Nishan, I'm sharing my screen. Again, I'm getting the same error regarding the location one.
Okay, Subramani. Yeah, in your location, do you see that standard D2S V3 will be there?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
No.
No. 1 sec. Default size standard D2S V3.
It is still selecting East US. You know the reason? You have to exit the shell so that all the parameters that were set will go off first thing.
Okay.
Okay, first exit it. Exit means close the shell.
I did the same thing previously.
There is a power button. No, click on the power button. Yeah, restart. Yes. So when you close from the X mark, no, it only hides. It doesn't
Okay.
restart.
Got it.
There is no other way is to either restart the shell. So now you can click on the close. Yeah, it's restarting. Now, did you frame the commands in a notepad and keep it ready?
It's there in that the link what you have sent.
That will be there. How will you modify? That means you will modify on the fly in the
Yeah, I was doing
terminal.
it.
Never do that.
Oh.
Always make a copy of it. Always
Uh-huh.
make a copy of the command in notepad, modify it, then copy paste. See, not
Okay.
everyone is comfortable on the command line, right? And
True.
there are chances that you will do mistakes when you do it on a command line.
Got it. Fine, Nishan.
Yeah. But you need to quickly.
Yeah, I'll do that first.
Yeah. Okay. Meanwhile, other participants can read task number 4, task number 5, and keep it ready so that you understand what has to be done. Or maybe what you can do, only Subramani you are left, no? Remaining everyone started, right? Completed, right?
Nishan, let them carry on. Let's start. I'll.
But no, if you miss out this, again you will have a delay there.
Okay.
That is the reason. Correct, no, because if you miss out here, again, once everyone starts doing it, no, again you will have a challenge there also. I don't want that to happen.
Good. Just 2 minutes, I'll clear it.
Sure.
Yeah, Nishan, done.
cool. So can I have your attention on my screen, please? So now my VM is connected to my log analytics workspace. So if you go to settings section, okay, you see agent configuration. Now, without even logging into the server, we can configure our agent. Typically, what happens in the real world, we have to log into the server and fine tune the agent rules, right? That's how we do it typically, correct? In a regular monitoring environment. Here, no need to do that. So without even touching the agent, you can do everything from here. So a couple of options are there. You want to enable Windows event logs capturing. You want to enable Windows performance counters. You want to enable Linux performance counters. You want to have a syslog, or you want to capture IAS logs. There are 5 methods that are available as of now. OK. Event Windows logs and performance counters are different. What is the difference between event logs and performance counters? CPU, RAM, disk usage, network usage, system usage, node usage, performance comes under Windows performance. Logs that are generated in the Windows event are Windows logs. Similarly, like in Windows, you have Windows events. In Linux, you have syslog. And then performance counters are same, like CPU, RAM, disk usage, IO operations usage and all. Clear? Because it's a Microsoft's product, they have enabled a special IAS logs. Any questions on the 4-5 parts that are available? So if you go to the Windows event logs, now which type of log I want to capture, I can select. So click on add Windows log. Now, which type of log you want to select?
System.
So if you system log. Now you can add more. For example, error logs you want to capture, warning logs you want to capture, or information logs. Information will be too much. I can add n number. For example, hardware. All hardware events I will get to know. Whether the disk of the hardware has gone bad, it will let us know. But tell me, does it make sense here to enable hardware events? Does this make sense? Hyper-V makes more sense, or hardware events make more sense?
Hardware can be done under Windows performance counter, right, Ishan?
So
If
that's
you are
what we
doing
need to
the
understand.
code, maybe I think Hyper-V makes more sense, right?
First of all, we are running a VM. That means it's running on a hypervisor. So hypervisor will abstract all the hardware events, right? What is the point of enabling hardware events? Hyper-V will take care of the diagnostics, right? That's how the virtualization tools are designed, right? Correct or wrong?
Yeah.
We are talking about a simple virtualization, nothing to do with Azure. Why do we use virtualization? So that the underlying hardware impact will not be there on the VM. So there is a technology called as vMotion. So if one hardware goes bad, automatically the VM will be moved on to a different hardware without having any downtime. So that kind of techniques can be implemented. I'm just showing you. OK.
Nishant,
Yeah.
one example I want you to take.
Yeah, sure.
In a VM environment, if we have multiple VMs,
Mhm.
there is something called noise between neighbors, right? So for such scenarios, how do we choose? What kind of diagnostics can we choose?
OK, now let's understand what do you mean by noise between the neighbors?
Let's say hypervisor. We are using same disk, same CPU, but we are split, right?
No. First of all, we need to understand the technology behind it. There is a technology called as namespaces. Okay, in any hypervisor, okay, rather than hypervisor, I'll call it as operating system. In any operating system, to isolate the hardware resources and to isolate the memory and CPU resources, there is a component called as namespace. Each virtual machine sits in a different namespace, so there is no noise between the namespaces. Namespaces are designed to eliminate the improper communication between the CPU resources and RAM resources of two different virtual machines. So there are no chances that you will have a noise. I'm not sure where you have seen this.
I have
Any
come across
specific
bit.
area?
Yeah, I've come across when speaking to system administrators, especially
Mhm.
Windows system administrators, where one of the VM was very slow,
Mhm.
and the resolution after diagnosing it, it was like there was another VM which was on the same hardware,
Mhm.
and there was high utilization of disk on that one, and that actually affected this VM. So,
Ah, okay. So, okay, this noise between the neighbors is, I have never seen a technical term like that. So I want to see who coined that. Any specific area? Because I don't know the term, first of all, but that's the reason I asked you to explain it.
okay. I mean,
So,
we use that generally.
okay, okay. So as far as technically goes, there is nothing like noise between the neighbors. There is no term like that. As far as my knowledge goes, maybe anyone can guide me also.
Yeah, maybe
But
it's
what
not
I
there,
can tell
but
you
yeah,
is,
that's
see,
what
typically,
basically.
yes. Now let's understand why that specific VM has done a heavy IO operations. Let's understand. That's a very good point. You bought it. Is it a shared disk, one disk, or is it a SAN?
Disk, one disk.
One disk is always a problem. That's not the right architecture when you are implementing VMs. Always you should have a SAN. In any VM infrastructure, you should have a storage area network, which is capable of having GB level operations, like 1 GB per second, 2 GB per second. So always, if in any data center, right? If you have one disk, on that disk, you split the disk into VMs and then run. This is going to be a problem. This is going to be a very, very common problem. That is the reason whenever you are building a virtualization infrastructure, you always use storage area network, which is a fiber optic cable connected, not even Cat6. We use fiber optic connection between the SAN and the hardware, and then mount the LUN or mount the volume onto the disk and then do the job. We will mount that volume as a disk into the hypervisor and then use it. This way, you can you can go to any extreme operation that will not have any impact on the other neighbor VMs. So that's the right architecture actually.
Okay.
So in this case, that chances will not be there. The reason is by default, Microsoft, any cloud provider uses this storage area networks. That's a very, very common scenario. Actually, using a storage area network is very common in our data centers also. Okay. Clear, Deepak?
Sure, sure.
Yeah. So now let's go ahead and enable other system services. So we have enabled only system service as of now. And then I'll go to performance counters. We can add more performance counters. For example, we want to add a process performance counter. For example, processor time. What is the average consumption of a processor time and how what is the difference between the sample rate? So around 60 seconds, every 60 seconds, it will go ahead and capture the difference time. Now you can add more performance counters like event tracing. I'll just pick up from the notes, easy. Event tracing node page pool. You can add another performance counter here. You can use n number. But the only thing is, you can go ahead and add everything here also. You can go ahead and add everything. What will happen if you add everything?
Lots of logs.
Logs will generate it.
Data flowing
Lots of
from
logs generation means lot of data that gets ingested into the workspace. Lot of data ingested into the workspace means cost.
Oh.
That's how it is. No, the more data that you ingest into the workspace, the costlier it will become.
It is only the cost, or performance will also get
No
impacted?
performance. There is no impact. The reason
Okay.
is this is designed to handle terabytes of data.
Okay, Nishant.
But
Yeah.
because it is designed to handle terabytes of data, we cannot utilize still that potential, because the moment you say we reach terabytes data, right? The bill will be like $60,000-$70,000 per month. So anyway, and we are only talking about one machine. Like that, you may have a number of machines. So at this moment, we are just applying them, this Windows performance counters, and then event logs is also applied.
How we would
Okay.
monitor the network, Nishant? Like this is the individual machines. So from network monitoring standpoint, is it going to be at same place that configuration
Very
would
good
happen?
question. Now, correct. So what type of network device that you want to monitor, Devinder? Good question.
Let's say flow of data between the various devices, like through
That
Wireshark,
chance you will
we
never have.
monitor those packets and all.
You will not have. You don't have something called VPC flow. There is something called VPC flow in AWS. Correct?
Hmm.
So you don't have that here. For example, you cannot tell that I'll put my machine in a promiscuous mode and capture.
Right.
Or it's not like, what I will do, I'll open a switch, I'll put a tapping device over there and then capture all the data from there. You cannot do that here. The reason is you don't have a control of it.
Okay. Okay. And the additional question, like just attached to that, this EDRs and NDR solutions.
Mm.
Uh, how we can connect? I believe we can connect here itself, right?
Huh. Now what happens is, if you connect your EDR solution, you need to manage the logs. For example, you need to install the EDR agent on this VM, and then this VM will start reporting to you, to that EDR machine. But in this case, what is happening? Rather than installing an EDR, you're actually using the same agent. One agent is doing all the job for you.
And this is equally capable of giving those kind of.
Equally capable. Yes, equally capable. And
Okay.
benefit here is incident response. There is a problem in EDR. Because if you are in a reverse NATed device, if you are in a destination NATed environment, EDR cannot take actions. If you are outside, if your EDR server is outside your network. But this guy, the design is in such a way that log analytics workspace can control the underlying Hyper-V using Power Apps. There is a concept called as Power Apps. So where your incident response is, for example, if a VM is infected, you can make it shut down. But there, how will your EDR shut down the machine?
It cannot.
To certain extent, it may actually disable the network connection and all. But the moment network connection is disabled, that host is out. You cannot control it, no, remotely. So there, what you need, the underlying VM access is required. Underlying hypervisor access is required. The beauty here with the Power Apps is it has the underlying Hyper-V access. So you can do an automated incident response, like disabling a network interface card. If you disable the network interface card, you can have a capability to enable it. But in a regular EDR solution, you cannot disable the interface card and re-enable it via agent. Because you disabled it, that means it's out of network connectivity. Now, how will you talk to it again from a remote machine? Because the network itself is disabled on that machine, no?
Right.
You're getting the differences, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's the benefit of being on the cloud. So I think let's see some couple of logs could have been generated or not. So you go to log section. So welcome to the log analytics. That's okay. No. So log analytics uses a language called as Custo. Custo query language. It's a language that is available only in Microsoft. Huh? Like you have SQL, there is something called Custo query language. If you use Custo query language, you can go ahead and filter the logs from Azure. The only problem with this language is this language only works in Azure. You cannot take Custo query language and put it in AWS or Google. And one challenge here it's going to be is you need to learn Custo, and this Custo query language is used in Sentinel, Azure Defender, and all services of Azure will use this querying methodology or querying language. Again, most of the time you will get GUI options, but if you want to fine tune, you can absolutely fine tune. I'll show you. OK, correct. For example, we want to monitor virtual machine, right? Our virtual machine details. So you can go ahead and select virtual machines. And for virtual machine level, you have a couple of logs. Sign-in locations, resources, cloud trail events, routing event configurations. For virtual machines, for example, virtual machine available memory, chart the VMs available memory over time, CPU trends, virtual machine free disk space, track the VM availability, reported errors, kernel events. So what we will do, we'll take memory and CPU, and then we'll continue. Where is the memory and CPU? So this is the one which you see here above is the Custo query language. So as of now, you see no results found from the last 24 hours. OK, time generated differences around 15 minutes difference. You show me. That's the reason I was telling, right? As of now, you will not see much logs. But in some time, all the logs will get populated and then you will be able to see the differences. So what you can do, if you want to increase the CPU, we will do a small activity. OK, go to virtual machines. This is my virtual machine. On this virtual machine, you have an option called as run command. We will run a PowerShell script. This is the PowerShell script. Click on run. This will increase the CPU. This will increase the CPU parameters. We are just like what we are doing. We are writing a simple loop for the swap so that the CPU will increase, and then when CPU increases, it sends all the data to the query engine, and the query engine we can pull it from there. We'll go once again. Log analytics workspace, Reva log analytics. Go to logs. Go to virtual machines. So you can wait for a few minutes and then you can rerun the query and you will be able to see some logs. For example, virtual machine free disk space. Let's run and see the report. OK, no details from the last 24 hours. OK, fine. Let's run the CPU trends for last 24 hours. Computer restarts and shutdowns. As of now, no. Select the time range. So anyway, let it generate in the last 24 hours, whatever happened. Last 12 hours, let's run. No, last 1 hour, because we just spawned not even 1 hour before. So we need to wait for it to generate and try to log into this server. Because when you log into this server, then logs gets generated. OK, and then do some practice on it. Do some installation, configuration and all, it will generate the logs and all. I'm just downloading it. This is just to generate the logs. When you do some activity, then only the logs gets generated, right? So I'm just trying to open the VM. VM open. I'll just try to install the IIS and do some stuff here so that some logs will get generated. You will typically see the logs by afternoon most of the time. Because and you are not going to delete the resources. This lab, whatever you're going to do, you will not delete. As you switch the labs, the resources are going to stay back, because obviously without any VMs, how will you do calculations and all? OK, I'm just going to spin up this instance. I'll install IIS. I'll try to access the IIS server. You all know how to install IIS, right? We have learned it before. Did you all learn it? How to install IIS? Did you learn?
I think we may have done it, but we may have to assess it.
Features,
Don't
Okay.
remember.
Maybe you can
the
absorb my
roles and
screen.
features.
Go to server manager. Yes, you can go ahead and add roles. Go to server manager. Click on add roles and features. Click on add roles and features. Click next. Role based installation. Next. Choose here IIS. Add features. Next. Next. Install. After that, I will restart the machine once. Just do some activity, right? You need to do activity for you to generate the logs. If you don't do any activity, it will not generate. OK, I think the IIS is installed. Let me go to IIS. What happened? IIS manager. Is it not installed?
Nishant, you need to restart for the server to recognize the installed features.
Not yet completed, dear. The installation is still going on. Installation succeeded. Now close. Now if you search for IIS. Oh, anyway, IIS came up, see. You need a performance manager here, IIS. It should show you IIS manager. Didn't I install IIS manager? IIS have enabled. Okay, next. Have enabled, no? It should actually give you an IIS console to manage. Okay. I'll also do a quick restart. I'm just selecting hardware unplanned. So it will restart the server and we will give a couple of minutes for it to come up and then do its job. Again, don't worry about if you're running the logs. If you don't see any logs right now, don't worry. That's not a problem. It takes time for you to generate the logs and store it there. OK. So what you can do now is you can complete task number 4 and 5. And if you look at cleanup resources, do not remove any resources from this lab as we need it for security center. That is your Microsoft Defender for cloud. So don't delete the resource. OK, please complete task number 4, task number 5, and then we will go to Defender for cloud.
So can we have a break after completing task 5 and then start?
Yes, we will take. I think since what time we begin? Yeah. It's around 9, no, 1.5 hours since we begin. What you can do, you can take a 10-15 minute break and come back and then continue doing it. That's better. Or better, OK, do this way. First enable the task 4 and 5, then go for a break so that you will have by the time you come back, you will have some logs. OK, that's better. You true. OK, guys. Maybe in 10-15 minutes, please complete task number 4, 5. At 11:45, we will take a break. 15 minutes complete task 4, 5. At 11:45, we will take a break till 2 o'clock. OK, clear?
Yes, sir.
So guys, if you're done with task 4 and 5, you can take a quick break and come by 12 maximum, so that the
Yeah,
other
I have a
participants
doubt.
also can complete and they can reach the same stage. Sorry, Sharanya.
Yeah, so sorry, sir. I had a doubt. So I tried to run the commands, and it now says script execution in progress for quite some time, for about
Yeah,
few
that is
minutes
okay.
now.
That is okay. It will run like that only.
Oh,
Yeah, that's okay. It doesn't end. That's fine.
so I'll wait till it till
No,
the
no, no.
execution.
Let it continue. Let it continue. No, no, you can close it also. It doesn't matter. It will run in the background and it will die.
So I have to go and rerun the command in the log analytics, right?
Yeah, that you can do it later, not immediately. It takes
Okay.
time for it to log. That rerunning of this command, we will come in the afternoon and do it.
Okay.
Okay, we'll take a quick break, come back, and then we'll continue, guys. Okay.
Sir, how many minutes break, sir? Hello?
Saranya, while creating this VM, you use South India, right?
Sorry, some Deepak, you're telling something.
Okay, if you can hear, can you ping me that this one? What is that code that you used?
Deepak, Sharon, like you're telling something, I missed it.
Oh, Nishant. Yeah,
But
I was.
IF with South India code.
Okay. So there's no space in it.
Yeah, in any of the region names, no, you will not see any spaces. It's always continuous flow.
Okay. Got it.
Sir, I want to share my screen, and I think I got some output. Output means like log.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, this one, and I have to run this. How it is?
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. That's a query history. Whatever the queries that happened, you are getting it. Whatever the queries that you were running, no, it's the query history only. That's okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
No worries.
Sir, break till 12, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Nishant sir, to run a query, we need to select a minimum 4 hours, right?
Mandatory. See, it will show you last 30-hour data you want to see, last 4-hour data you want to see, last 24-hour data. If you select 24 hours, you will not see anything. No.
Yeah.
If you select last 4 hours also, you will not see because the server has just came up. So just keep it like that. Till afternoon, you will not see anything. Then slowly the data gets populated.
Got it.
Hey, welcome back everyone. Welcome back everyone.
Yeah, I'm also back.
Yep, cool. So you can run some of the queries will work. It will start populating data. For example, if you see about the status of the server, how many times it has restarted, or alive, show alive. How about virtual machines shutting down? There are a lot more options. You can actually go ahead and explore it. Top 10 virtual machines by CPU utilization. You see here, my VM, because we only have one VM. Free disk space. I think we have not enabled disk space logs, so it will not capture much of the data. Windows failed login attempts. See, we need to enable pretty much all the logs so that we can capture a lot of data and different status parameters, but we did not enable because the moment you add everything, then the log space cost will increase. But as of now, what you can do is now you know where to go and add it. After today's class, okay, what you can do, you can add everything and keep it so that the data gets filled up in the log space, and then you will be able to work out. Clear? Now, whatever you have seen, this is not designed for security. Whatever you have seen now, this monitoring is not designed for security. There is another service which is designed for security called as Microsoft Defender Cloud. Microsoft Defender Cloud, also called as Security Center. In old versions, it's Security Center. Now it is called as Defender. Microsoft Defender for Cloud. OK, so we are going to actually work on this Microsoft Defender for Cloud. In mine, you will see a couple of dashboards because I have been working on this before. But in yours, you may not see everything, but almost everything will look very similar. OK, the configuration, everything that we are going to do will be very same. Clear? In mine, it's already activated. In yours, it's not activated yet. That's it. Defender for Cloud. OK, so we will configure Microsoft Defender for Cloud and then enable recommendations and see how do we implement just-in-time virtual machine access. What is just-in-time virtual machine access? For example, if you want to log in for only 15 minutes, you can enable a user to only log in for 15 minutes, and after that his rights will be taken down. So that means you can tell that this guy should have only 15-minute admin rights. Only 15-minute admin rights will be given. That's called as just in time. Just for that time being, you will get privileges to do the operations. OK, so if you go to Microsoft Defender for Cloud, OK, getting started page, you would see something like this. Enable Microsoft Defender for Cloud enhanced security features on your subscription. Get trial with 30 days free trial. After free trial, it will start charging. OK, now if you see, we have two workspaces. On these two workspaces, we did not enable the Defender yet because we just created the And then if you see install agents, at this moment, we have not installed any agents. Now this will go ahead and do the fetching of logs from the Microsoft Defender agents. See, the log analytics agent will automatically installed on all the virtual machines in the selected subscription. But where is our subscription? Our subscription is MCT subscription, right? You don't see it here. Or you can go to getting started and enable it manually. Now, what I would do is, if you go to upgrade, you can select any of the agent. For example, Reva Log Analytics. You can select this. And click on upgrade. Click on upgrade. Is it clear? Sorry. Now, in your case, where will you upgrade? For Azure for Students. In my case, I will upgrade it my own workspace. There will be a slight difference in the way it works in yours and mine. But however, if you see the cost for one server to monitor per month, it will take $15. $15 is the charge for 1 month monitoring per server. Per instance, $15 for an app service. For one SQL database, $15 per month is the cost. Then accordingly, you can see the cost. So if you have 100 servers, you're paying around $1,500 total. If you have 200 servers and you want to enable Defenders for cloud, it will be the according cost. For storage account, there is a cost. Virtual machine, there is a cost. Key vault, there is a cost. Container cost. Resource manager cost. DNS cost. Clear? I'll just click on upgrade. Plan is upgraded. You can also install agents. See, in my case, agents are already installed. That's the reason, because it's been activated for a long time from my side. OK, now if you scroll down, it's actually showing you a couple of suggestions. Because we don't have much infrastructure, the number of suggestions that are shown is very less here. So if you look at the security posture, unhealthy resources, to harden these resources and improve your score, follow the security recommendations. For example, if you see Azure, AWS and GCP, you can go ahead and integrate multi-cloud into this. If you go to subscriptions, you can switch in between the subscriptions and check. If not, you can go back. I'll close this. You see, you can go ahead and integrate pretty much all the 3 cloud providers. Top 3. Then Azure security benchmark, 34 of 43 passed controls. That means there are 43 controls on which the assessment happened and your 34 of them are passed. And you want to know what controls are they? As per the Azure security benchmark version 3, if you look at network security, you see NS2, secure cloud services with network controls. Microsoft responsibility, customer's responsibility. Did you see whose responsibility is it? Did you observe whose responsibility is it? Is it Microsoft responsibility or customer responsibility?
Both.
Network security.
Both.
Both?
Yep, both.
So
it is
storage account should
responsibility.
It's highlighted as customer responsibility, right?
Highlighted is customer responsibility. Why? Let's look at the roles now. Storage account should be a private link connection. Who will create storage account? We create. So it's our responsibility. Storage account should restrict network access using virtual network rules. That means we configure our storage area network, sorry, storage account. It's our responsibility. Cognitive services account should restrict network access. VM image builder template should use private link. Public network access should be disabled for MySQL servers. All of this is our responsibility. It's our responsibility to configure because all of them are configured by us. They are not telling nothing about the firewall. Huh? If it is a firewall and firewall's underlying configuration, then it is the Microsoft responsibility.
So right now, why it is reflecting as red? Is it like
So,
have not been configured? That is why.
yes, it is not configured properly. That green color is properly configured. This one is not configured. Storage account should have a private link connection. So if I click this, now you see there is a storage account that is created. There is a storage account that is created, which is not following this private link connection standard. So let's go to storage accounts and see. See, this is a storage account. As per the Microsoft standard, the storage account should use a private link connection. So where is the private link connection? If you look at networking, see all networks, Microsoft network. Let's see. Do you see any private endpoints? No, there's no private connection. As of now, it is enabled for Microsoft routing. Typically, you should enable select specific network and only in that network you have to make it to run. See, allow only Azure services to trust. Allow read only access from a logging from any network. Allow read access to storage metrics. So we need to go ahead and fine tune these parameters so that our storage account doesn't get exposed to internet. Okay. If you see something called as enforce. So what is the scope? MCT resource group is I think this belongs to which resource group? What is the RG of this?
It's 13. Is at 13. Nishant, you can go the last one. You can go there and.
But did we create this in AZ13?
Yes, because we created the virtual machine through AZ13, and through that the storage got deployed.
No, you see the resource group, Cloud Shell Storage Access, Cloud Shell Storage. Nothing to do with our 13. It belongs to Cloud Shell Storage. What is Cloud Shell Storage? You remember when you open this? When you open this shell, there is a storage that is required, no?
Yes, that we need to create a
storage is
storage.
this. That storage is this account. So it comes under which resource group? Cloud Shell Storage East US. And then optionally resource. Which resource? This resource. And configure storage account to use private link connection. And then say yes. And then click on enable, click on review and create. What will this do? There's a parameter issue. See, it's asking you want this storage to be only available from a private network. Now pass the private network. Do I have a private networks? My VNet. Do I have a private subnet? I don't have a private subnet. It's just simple subnet. I'm just selecting it to show you. Click review and create. create. Now what will happen? This policy will be enforced on this storage account. This policy will be enforced on this storage account. Is it clear? Just a second, I'll stop sharing and start sharing it again. Are you getting it? See, this is not there in the lab documentation, so don't worry. So we can go ahead and fix all the issues. This is called as incident response, right? Security incident response. Some issue happened and you're fixing it. And the fixing is also done in a very sequential way. Not like you go somewhere else and do the modification and come back. We went here to storage account to just know what exactly the current status of it is.
What is the storage account, Nishant?
Like a Google Drive bucket. Like a Google Drive account, this is a storage account. Typically, for example, let me ask this question. All your folders on your Google Drive are open to public. Is it a good thing or not?
Bad.
Very bad thing.
Very bad thing. That means
depends on what is there, but in general, it's bad.
In general, it's bad, correct? Because maybe your files are there. Nowadays, everything is getting synced to cloud. Correct. Now your Google Drive is open. Is it a problem? Absolutely, it's a problem. Now, who should recommend you that Google should recommend you, no? Google services should recommend that, hey, your Google Drive folders are open. Similarly, storage account is a storage service in Azure. Anything that you put in the storage service, if you make it public, it is available to public. It's clearly telling that, hey, you have a storage account which is having public link. That means it is configured to access from a public link. Rather configure it in a private link. You got it?
We changed the configuration by still it is okay. It has gone green now.
It will become. Why? It takes 30 seconds polling. If you look at the polling is always runs at 30 seconds. Refresh interval time is 30 minutes. Right. Every 30 minutes it will run and check.
Got it.
Like that, you have see you have privileged access. Ensure Microsoft Defender for DNS should be enabled. That means for the DNS services, Microsoft Defender is not enabled. Separate and limit highly privileged administrative users. There should be more than one owner assigned to a subscription. What if there is only one owner and if he forgets his credentials? How will you manage the ownership of the account? A maximum of 3 owners should be designated for subscriptions. External accounts with owner permission should be removed from your subscription. Like that, there are a couple of things that we need to fix. In similarly, logging and threat detection. Enable threat detection capabilities. Microsoft Defender for Resource Manager should be enabled. Microsoft Defender for DNS should be enabled. See, when you see quick fix, no, that means with one click you can do it. OK, you see there is a fix button also here. That's it. Fix one resource. But see, it is easy to click on fix and fix. It is easy to see green color. But for every green color that you see, there is a cost associated with it. So don't forget that. Oh, because someone asked me to click green, green, green. I'll make everything green. And then at the end of the month, you will see a bombarded bill. Should know what is important, what is not important. OK. Very, very common mistake that people do is in the interest of seeing everything working, we enable everything, but later we will realize, oh, the bill is very heavy. Now I think I should disable everything. No, because I am telling you this because I have seen and I have gone through all of this. That is the reason. See, auto provisioning of the log analytics agent should be enabled on subscriptions. But the moment you enable this, what will happen? Every time a VM gets created, log analytics engine will be log analytics agent will be installed, and then it will start reporting to the default log analytics workspace. Isn't it a cost? For practice, you are doing some 10 VMs creation and they are pumping the logs. All the logs are pumped to the log workspace. That means log workspace cost will increase, no? Is it clear?
Yes, and everything is shown under regulatory compliance. So which regulatory compliance it is referring to?
It has its own benchmark, Azure security benchmark. So that's the regulatory compliance that it is looking for. Its own benchmarking. See, Azure security benchmark 3, version 3.
Okay. Wanted point out to something like, let's say, ISO or GDPR or PCI DSS.
You can also do that. So you can create a custom compliance policies and then do it. I'll show you once again. Yeah. OK, one more thing. See, whenever you go to any environment, right, you need to enable. By default, in your case, it will be disabled. Enable all Microsoft Defender for cloud plans should be enabled. And when you enable all, it will show you the cost. See, if you look at $15 server per month, I have just turned on everything. You can click on enable all, everything will be enabled. I'll show you how to create your custom policies. But first we need to enable that in every compliance requirement. So you can get some audit reports here. Now, who has done this audit? Some third party has done the audit on your infrastructure. On your infrastructure means on the Azure infrastructure. And this is the report that is provided by them. Now, this report will help you to tell you are following ISO 27001 or not. If something is not followed, you can look at it and raise a Microsoft support telling that why are you not following and all. Maximum they will follow everything that is required for you for 27001 implementation.
So Nishan, how can we use this document?
Very simple. For example, if someone is asking you, if a customer is asking you, are you 27001 certified? What will you do? For example, I want to do a business with you. OK, I'm a bank and you are selling a product to me. I'll ask you my first question. See, all products that we purchase should always be that organization, whoever is selling us, should be 27001 certified. You are selling as a product. That can be a banking product, that can be a HR management system, that can be any product. Now I need you to be 27001 certified. Now for you, what is the cost of implementation for 27001? Around 15 to 20 lakhs you will spend for 27001 implementation end to end. But you don't want to spend that money. But all your infrastructure is already sitting on a cloud. So you can challenge them telling that, see, all our infrastructure runs on AWS or Azure cloud and Azure is already certified in that. So we indirectly certified for PCI DSS or 27001. But they may counter question you telling that, can you tell me which services are PCI DSS certified, which services are not? Remember, for example, password policy, right? As per 27001, is there anything like 8 characters, 10 characters password policy? Does 27001 talk about 8 characters password?
No, it doesn't tell characters, how much minimum characters, but it says that Yeah, it
Best.
should be industry compliant.
Yeah. What is industry compliant? Industry
See,
compliance means what?
combinations of different or name or any particular word kind of thing should not dictionary, basically
Okay, let's
dictionary or a
understand. That
name.
is there. What is the industry standard today? What is the industry standard password length?
Minimum
12
8.
characters.
14 characters.
12 to 14.
As of today, industry standard is 14 characters as per the CIS benchmarks. But are we following? Even though we are PCI DSS ISO 27001 compliant, we will not, because we'll not be able to satisfy our user requirements. Users are tough guys. They will tell, no, IT team is increasing the complexity. IT team is not doing their job. That's what they will tell. If you put a more password strength. Correct or wrong? That's what is going to happen, right?
So Nishant, in my audit reports, I just see couple. So
What is it?
In my audit report page, I don't see these tabs: US government, ISO, PCI. So I just have a single tab, and that is just having 4 entries.
You don't see US government PCI SOC reports?
Yeah.
Did you enabled the Microsoft Defender, right?
Yeah, I clicked enable all.
You see here under the regulatory compliance, click on audit.
No, I think I got it. Okay, I got it now. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, no worries. Okay, now, anyway, we'll come back to that. We have a lot more to work on it. So that is very important. Okay, once you come to getting started, go ahead and upgrade it. And once you upgrade it, it will install all the agents and we are good to go. Okay, you can also go to environment settings. In case if you are unable to activate anything, you can go to environment settings and click on one of the subscriptions. And in that subscriptions, you will see Defender plan. If it is turned off, you can turn it on. This is the place where most of the people will get confused. OK, so that is the reason whenever you are doing this lab, no, it will be a little confusing because the instructions are written assuming that if someone has already activated. If you don't see this, if you are unable to follow line number 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, if you are unable to follow line number 4, 5, that is OK. Directly go to line number 6 and 7 and get the job done. OK, directly go to line number 6 and 7 and get the job done. Clear? We are just enabling. We are not doing anything. We are just enabling the Defender, Microsoft Defender Cloud. OK. Now you see, someone asked me, no, how can I enable PCI DSS? Can I have your attention here? At this moment, what did I enable? This subscription, I have enabled Azure Security Benchmark. This comes out of the box. That means already predefined rules are already given. So it's easy. However, if you want to enable PCI DSS, you can click on enable. It will track whether your infrastructure is PCI DSS compliant or not. But if you see ISO 27001 is deprecated. This legacy implementation of ISO 27001 will soon be removed from the compliance dashboard. Please onboard the new ISO 27001 2013 to your dashboard. I can add more standards also. NIST SP, NIST SP 800, UKO, Canada Federals, Azure CIS, HIPAA, SWIFT 27001, New Zealand, CMMC level 3, Azure CIS, NIST FedRAMP, REMIT, Australian government. So you can add any standard that you like. As you want ISO 27001, I'll add 27001. So to the Microsoft subscription, I want to add to which resources you want to take. See, I can select all the resources, or I can select only this resources, should be ISO 27001 compliant. Enable it and review and create. But we are just enabling. It's easy to enable, but there is a cost associated because we already have enough money in our account. I'm just enabling everything. Later after this course, I will disable everything. OK. See now 27,001 is enabled, manually added. I can enable SOC. Or if you want to write your own custom, you can create your custom policies step by step. Different policies, different controls. Each policy definition will look differently. So you can write your own custom policies. Clear?
Nishan, I could not see anything specific to privacy. So, like GDPR.
Let's understand.
Yeah.
Now, GDPR will never talk about how much should be your password length. Correct? Let's understand the difference. OK, maybe you can explain me. For example, how do I achieve GDPR? Let's take one example. Very good question. You tell me, Nishant, I want to address this parameter. Can you let's take one parameter because GDPR is a very big term. I don't want to take it a big term level. I want to go to one point, one control that you want to implement, and then we'll talk about it.
OK, let's talk about DLP implementation.
See, is GDPR talking about DLP implementation?
It talks about the user to have the control over the data.
User to have control over the data is different from implementing DLP. DLP is one way of achieving that. Correct.
I'm talking from the standpoint of when we are implementing DLPs, right? So there is certain data which gets collected about the user, whether it is his IP address, because in GDPR, even the IP address of the user or the logging session of the user, those are all the part of the kind of, you may say, the PII data. Correct. So usually what I have seen the organization when they're implementing DLP solutions, by, you may say, for improper configuration or lack of oversight, they tend to ignore these things. So that is wherein it creates the problem. Because the major concentration is primarily onto the customer data, and people even forget that there is someone known as employee who is also have some sort of expectation on privacy.
Correct. Very good thing. So let me put this in this way. See, typically none of the data privacy programs have controls. They only have recommendations. They don't have a control. That means none of the data privacy will tell you that you have to go to Active Directory and enable 8-character password or 14-character password. None of the data privacy tells you have to update your patches. None of the data privacy tells you need to implement a DLP. They will only say that you should be in a position to trace the data. How will you trace? Whether you'll put a human to trace it, whether you'll put a system to trace it, doesn't matter. You should be in a position to trace. Linkability. You should be able to link the data between systems. For example, if Nishant details are like Nishant's name and age is there in one database, Nishant's email ID and some other details are in the other database. Are you in a position to link them together so that you can identify the individual? That is what is data privacy talks about. It doesn't talk about controls. The controls are bought by us. We tell this control will work here. That may not be the right approach. First of all, you're getting me right. That is the reason in most of the cloud providers, you will not see anything very specific to data privacy. Because data privacy doesn't talk about controls. It talks about principles. Whether the principles are followed by you in any way doesn't matter. So let me tap this way. All the data should be protected. All the physical data should be protected, correct? I can put a very big $100,000 vault, or I can just put a cable tie and then protect it. Correct? Both are protection measures, right? You guys are getting me, right? The point of view that I'm coming from. Devinder, you got me. You're the person you have to talk now. Devinder?
On mute, I was not able to unmute myself. So I understood your point of view that
there will not be any data privacy controls. In any cloud provider, you will not see we are meeting a data privacy requirements. They cannot tell. The reason is they are not controls to tell. They're only principles to practice. That practice can be implemented in 100 ways. Some people will put a vault, some people will put a lock, some people will put a security guard, but control is like that principle is achieved. That is the reason, as far as my knowledge goes, none of the cloud providers have any data privacy kind of controls. Rather, they always have technical controls because this is all talking about technology. So you'll always see technical controls only. However, if you feel that something should be done, for example, does any data privacy talk about implementing vulnerability assessment and penetration testing? Just a simple discussion.
No.
No.
No, sir. Yes.
Then why are you? Okay, which one is talking about VAPT? Tell me.
PCI specifically speaks about
PCI is not data privacy. I'm talking about data privacy, not PCI DSS.
ISO speaks that there should be a technical assessment that is.
ISO is not data privacy, dear.
But
ISO 7001 is a technical control. It doesn't talk about data privacy.
Only when it comes to data protection, privacy comes in.
See, there is a difference. Okay. Let me tell you guys. There is a difference between data protection and data privacy. Okay, there is a lot of difference. When you say data privacy, right? It all talks about whether you have taken a consent from the user or not. Okay, and how are you utilizing the data? Why are you utilizing the data? Who has given you permission to utilize the personal information? On what basis you are doing it? It all deals about data privacy deals differently. Data protection deals differently. There's a difference. Data protection is data privacy is a subset of data protection. Just to give you one example, because I have studied a couple of data privacy programs before. So from that experience, I'll talk. You can correct me if I may be doing some mistake over here and there, but correct me if something is of that sort. OK, but before that, I'll just quickly give you one brief. My understanding I'll give you, then you can tell me about your understanding. Check. See, my understanding is this. Security talks about system security, network security, access control implementation, cloud security, incident management, activity monitoring. Privacy talks about, did you classify the data in your organization? Whether you will use a technique like titanium or whether you will use a manual based technique, it doesn't matter. Did you classify the data or not? Did you take the consent from the customer? Will you take the consent from the customer on a paper, or will you take the consent from the customer from a Android app? Will you take the consent from a customer using a phone call? It doesn't matter. But consent from the customer should always be proved. That means at any point of time, customer cannot tell that I cannot give it. I have not given you consent. Or customer can say, OK, I don't know when I have given consent. He cannot tell that. That means someone should be, when it is challenged in the court of law, you should be in a position to prove it. That customer consent. Do you have data exchange policies? Do you have data erasure policies, measures, data retention measures? Now, how will you put the data retention measure is up to you. Which technology will you use? This is my understanding. You can correct me if there is any difference.
This is my understanding too, sir.
Because after studying 3 data privacy laws, this is what I came up, or I understood. Telling that none of the data privacy talks about technical controls. It doesn't talk about technical controls. It only talks about the principles and practices. Whether that principle or practice, how you implement it is up to you. Whether you implement with a technology or with the help of a human, it's up to you. Because the humans cannot do the job, you need to put a technology. Because we are putting technology, we think that technology is what data privacy is about. No. It's like this, no? Today we don't see the difference between Xerox and photocopy. We interchangeably use the words. The same thing is happening with data privacy. We all think that data privacy controls means implementing vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, Active Directory, EDR. No, they are not that. They are a way of achieving the data privacy. They are a way of achieving it. Maybe Devender, you can say from your experience, if you feel there is a difference in the understanding, feel free to put it up. Huh?
No.
Because only
Understanding
our
is correct.
discussions will give
Understanding
us
is,
the.
yeah, understanding is correct. The only thing is like when we try to implement from a, let's say, security standpoint, the controls around privacy. So generally, I have seen organizations faltering and then becoming subject to various regulatory kind of penalties and all those things. So like one
See,
example I
there
thought about TLP.
I'll tell you. For example, very simple. I'll give you. I'll give you some statistics, so it should be easy. You're able to see this, no?
Yes.
Amazon itself got fined 746 million pounds. WhatsApp 225 million. Google itself 50 million. H&M team. So we'll talk about each of them. For example, if you look at the Amazon GDPR fine, again, this is deviating from the topic, but this is worth discussing. OK, because you are in the security monitoring, you should know what to monitor for. So Amazon GDPR has been fined for 746 million. GDPR fine on Amazon. What is the reason? The reason is that 10,000 people have filed a complaint against Amazon in May 2018, asking that Amazon is collecting a lot of data from us, but we don't know what they are doing. We don't know whether they are maintaining our data privately or not. That means, are they maintaining the, like, are they selling the data to someone else? We don't know. How did they collect the data? We don't know. In what form they collected the data? We don't know. Nothing to do with security controls. Let's understand another case. WhatsApp. Again, WhatsApp has been fined for 225 million. The reason is it is sharing the data between parties like Facebook and WhatsApp. WhatsApp data is to be with only WhatsApp, but they shared the data with Facebook. There is nothing like technical control. How I'm just giving you that idea. Now let's take about another case. I'll give you one interesting case. Capital One. Capital One has been fined for 61.3 million by the regulator for a data breach. Now let's understand. For a data breach, why GDPR fine should be there? Data breach means it's a security breach. No, why should I have a GDPR fine on a data breach? When the data breach happens, the data from our company goes outside, correct? That means the privacy of the user is invaded. Because the privacy of the user is invaded, under that category, they will fine it. They will not say that you fall under security breach. They will never say that, oh, you had a security breach, that's why we are fining you. No. You had a security breach And the personal data of that security, because of the security breach, personal data is impacted. Because any impact to the personal data is considered under GDPR. What if there is a security breach happened and no personal data has been impacted? They cannot fine. GDPR cannot come and tell that I will fine you. The reason is there is no personal data that is impacted. No, there is no personally identifiable information that has been impacted due to the cyber attack. So even GDPR cannot do in that case. Not any cyber law can, any data privacy law cannot do anything in that case. Because personal information is compromised, personal information is revealed, then only the data fines will happen. Even though a security breach happens, if there is no breach of personal data, GDPR or none of the data privacy laws cannot put a fine on you. I hope it is getting clear, right? So that is the reason you will not see controls. However, if you want to create your own controls, you can absolutely do that. You can go ahead and initiate your own controls on specific areas. You can go to controls. You can create any control. And implement a policy on top of it. For example, if you feel that as per the GDPR, you need to do vulnerability assessment penetration testing. See, vulnerability assessment should be enabled on Synapse Workspace. Audit virtual machines without discovery record, SQL Server integration, private endpoint connectors, Azure backup. But there are only limited policy definitions. Nishan, this policy definitions doesn't work out. We need more. We need more granularity. That is when Sentinel came up. That's when Sentinel has come up. Anyway, before going to the Sentinel, let's finish up this. OK, clear? So if you go to the overview of Microsoft Defender for Cloud, is where you will see all the data. So if you go to assessed resources, it has assessed around 3. So if you look at MSDN subscription, it has done a couple of resources. See, deprecated accounts with owner permission should be removed from your subscription. This is the severity. So click on it and see what are the deprecated accounts. Do we have any deprecated accounts? It's not showing me any deprecated accounts. Does that mean everything is applicable for us? See, status is healthy. What does that status is healthy means? This is not there. That means this bug is not there or this issue is not there. If you see another status, then you will see, oh, that means this bug is there. Is it getting clear for you?
Nishant, can you please repeat this last bit? Sorry, I missed.
No worries. See, for example, this is the control. This is one of the controls. If you see healthy, that means this control is not applicable to us. If you don't see it as healthy, that means this control is applicable to us. That means there is a bug over here. Very simple to tell you is. I'll just take the same example. See, sometimes no, some naming convention are not good. This is the bug. How will you represent this bug? This is a security issue in your organization. OK, what will you say here? Status. I say status. What is this? This is a bug which is available in our bug in infrastructure or not. You will say yes or no, right? Yes means on system number 1, this is applicable. No means it's not applicable. This is not applicable. Correct? The alternative is this. Here it's called a status. It's called as healthy, not healthy. Here. No means healthy. Yes means not healthy. That means this is applicable for our environment or not. If it is applicable to our environment, it will show you not healthy. If it is not applicable to our environment, then it will show healthy. That is very, it's like this, guys. Do you have any diseases? No, no, I'm perfectly healthy. Do you have any disease? Is the question. You will say, no, no, I'm perfectly healthy. Oh, do you have asthma? No, I'm healthy. I'm healthy means you don't have it. So here, if you see healthy means you don't have this issue in your environment. Healthy means you don't have this issue in the environment. Naming convention is not good, no? They could have made a different or better naming convention, right? What to do? That's how it is. Okay. Anyways, is it clear?
Yes.
Now you can go to workload protection. See workflow automation. I'll show you this. If you click on workflow automation, see, if it is a security alert, if it is a recommendation, if it is a regulatory and compliance standard issue. For example, if if Azure is telling a recommendation, what type of recommendation is it? For example, endpoint protection should be installed on the machine. If this is the recommendation that is provided by Azure, okay, what should be the recommended state? If it is unhealthy, if endpoint protection should be enabled on the machine is unhealthy, then what should be the action? In this resource group, I should call a logic app. I should call a logic app. So what will happen? Logic app is a service which is available in Microsoft Azure, where it can do actions for you. So automatically it will take a decision. If Microsoft Defender is raising a recommendation, and the recommendation is endpoint protection should be installed on the machine, and if it is unhealthy, on whichever the resource it is unhealthy, you can take an action on the resource, telling that go ahead and delete the server. Go ahead and disable the server. Go ahead and upgrade the server. That kind of conditions you can write it in logic apps. So this is called as automated incident response. An incident response can be done automatically. Guys, are you getting me? Silent means not getting.
Yeah, we're following. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's very new, right? So it will take some time for you to digest and you have to think. There's a lot of thinking here. Okay.
So this is basically part of like what we call a SOAR, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Automated incident response. Here it's called as workflow automation. So if you go to workload protection, see currently, this is the current status of the workload. Defender for cloud storage, There is 1 by 1 storage, 1 by 1 server, 1 out of 2 resource managers. Out of 2 resource managers, only one on which we have implemented Cloud Defender, and out of two DNS subscriptions, we have enabled only on one. See, vulnerability assessment, none. Just-in-time access, none. Adaptive application control, none. Container image scanning, we did not enable all of this. Application network hardening, SQL vulnerability assessment, FIM, network mapping, IoT security. So we can go ahead and enable any of them. For example, if you see vulnerability assessment, machines should have vulnerability assessment solution. If you see, do I have any machines which has vulnerability assessment solution in it?
No.
So that what should we do then? Select the unhealthy resources and click fix to launch quick fix. So because we don't have any unhealthy resource, we cannot do a quick fix. In case if you cannot do a quick fix, to deploy a vulnerability assessment solution in the unhealthy resources tab, select the resource, then select remediate. So we don't have any other resource here to tell. See, this you will see when you are actually doing it a large scale. Like when you have 20, 30 VMs and a lot of infrastructure is there, each infrastructure is talking. So I'll just show you just-in-time access. So what is just-in-time? Just-in-time access enables you to lock down your VMs in the network level by blocking inbound traffic to specific ports. And also it will give you a control on till how much time you need your systems. For example, why can't we see our VMs here? See, some of your subscriptions don't have Defender for Cloud full protection enabled. So we have not enabled the Defender. When it is not enabled for the Defender, you cannot see it. Are you able to see? In my case, yeah. If I install for Azure for Students, it will not work. You know why? My subscription was MCT. It's a different subscription. That is the reason you are unable to perform that lab on my machine. But we will perform the same lab on one of our your machines. You can perform the lab on your machines and we'll perform it while you are doing it in your lab. So now what we will do before wrapping up this lab. 1 second. At what time you want to take a lunch break? I would need for this to complete, I would need on an average of 25-30 minutes I need easily. So you want to complete this exercise and go for lunch, or you want to go for lunch and come back and do the exercise?
For lunch and come back, sir.
Let me hear. Please raise your hands. Let's go with majority. First lunch and then come back and do the exercise, or what is? Please raise if you want lunch first. Okay. Afzal, Ami, Belvander, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I, 7, Soumya, 8, Subramani, 9, Vaishali, 10. I think 10 people are 10 people want their lunch later. 6 people only want the lunch now.
No, sir, vice versa.
Is it?
Yeah, everyone want lunch.
Lunch now. The 10 people
I
who
don't want any confusion in that.
Okay, so let's take a lunch break and then come back and then we will continue this. Okay.
Okay, sir.
It's around 10:30. Sorry, I'm telling my time.
Come back at 2, sir.
Yeah, we'll come back at 2 and then we'll continue.
Okay.
Okay. See you all.